Okay, so I read that you wanted to adapt a book into a movie, and this was the first or one of the first that you read.
First book. How crazy is that? This is the first book I got. They sent me the best possible book first.
What made you want to make this book into a movie?
Well, it's such a tragic story, but told in a very funny way. And I love that kind of bittersweet take on things. It never leans into sentimentality. We always stay away from the tragedy, and there's actually big laughs in the movie. So if you can do that right, as our cast does, you get the full experience.
I know that you also wrote it, so finding the balance between those comedic and dramatic elements, how many drafts do you have to go through before you feel like you find the right sort of balance?
Well, you go through as many drafts as you can until it's time to start shooting. If I had more time, I'd do more drafts, but it is what it is. But really, the balance all comes down to the performances. Paul Rudd, Craig Roberts, Selena Gomez, Megan Ferguson, they're so good in this movie. Their performances are so nuanced that it made it very easy for me.
And so Paul Rudd is one of those comedic actors who is great at drama. Did you write this with him in mind, or how did he get involved in the film?
I couldn't help but think of Paul as I was writing it, because you need someone that can pull off real dramatic scenes, very subtle dramatic scenes, but also be really funny. And there's not a lot of guys that can do both of those things. And Paul is, what can you say about Paul? He's just tremendous.
And did you let them improv at all? Because there are so many scenes in this movie that seems like they're so off the cuff and great.
Yeah, there's not a ton of improv, but there is some. And one of the best scenes in the movie that's been getting a lot of attention is a scene where Paul tries to get Craig to eat a Slim Jim, and most of that is ad-libbed by Paul. He's just a genius in that scene.
And talk about Craig a little bit. I mean, this role is very physically challenging. What was the audition process like, and what's the research that goes behind that role?
Yeah, well, once you have Paul Rudd in your movie, what's great about that is not only that you have Paul Rudd, but everyone then wants to be in your movie. So we went through, honestly, 250 kids until we ended up with Craig. And we had chemistry reads. Paul was shooting Ant-Man, came up, read with Craig, and some of the other kids. And the minute we saw those two together, we knew we had something really special.
Totally different than Ant-Man, too.
Yeah, although Paul insisted on wearing the suit for the first 4 days of shooting. It was very, very tricky.
Was he tiny or was he big?
Well, it depends on the shot.
And finally, what do you feel how Netflix, being on Netflix, will impact the viewers, or what do you think that'll...
Well, I can answer that simply by saying 190 countries, 81 million viewers, 12 languages. For a movie like this to open that way is beyond my wildest expectation.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you.
All right, you too.